because I didn't, when I typed that up the other day, I didn't think about this possibility. Some of you, I know at least one of you, has a class immediately after this class, which means you also have an exam. What is it, 9:30 to 11:30 or something like that, 9 to 10, something, or 9 to 11, something like that, on Monday, so you obviously can't be here from 9:30 to 10. So, couple of things, couple ways you can take care of that. You can submit it earlier if you want, and the way you can do that is either put it on the box on my office door. There's a plastic thing. You can put it on the box on my office door, or you can put it in my mail slot in Peck Hall 303. That's the departmental mailroom. Just go and find the one with Sherman and just set it there. If neither of those work and you're not doing the revision, okay, you can email it to me. I'll just go ahead and throw that out. Okay. If you're doing the revision, though, you can't email it because I need the original one. And I'll expand that so that it's not either I said 9:30 or 9:30 to 10. Have it to me by, I'll just say, noon Monday. Okay? So have it to me by noon Monday, either in my box, on my office door, mailroom, or email if you're not doing the revision. Unless you have a way to email me the revision too. If you want to scan that and email that, that's fine. Okay? All right, picking up with, I don't think we'll be here the full period. Yeah, we won't be here the full period. Picking up with chapter 42. So we left off with the chapter about the swine, free magic flesh of swine. Mogget asked to have his collar taken off, and Sam kind of warned Lirael, yeah, be careful about Mogget. He's tried to kill my mother 3 times. Next chapter, 42, Sutherlings and the Necromancer. Okay? Lirael says she smells free magic. The dog smells it. Mogget smells it. And we see a scene. Let's see where I want to pick up here. The necromancer, or the free magic, is off on one bank of the river, and I just had it a second ago. It's actually not the necromancer they think it is. It's not Hedge. Anyways, they find a bunch of dead hands, and the dead hands have a group of people surrounded. And Sam realizes these people are not Old Kingdom citizens. These are Sutherlings, okay? And they're trying to rescue them, but they can't get to them in time. And the Sutherlings all get killed. And Sam, where did it go? Sam runs off. There it is. Pages 646 and 47. Okay? Sam, we're told, middle of 647. He shakes his head. He felt paralyzed, unable to reach for the bells or to follow Lirael, because Lirael's gone off. She and the dog are almost at the end of the jetty. But he had to do something. He had to act. He had to prove to himself he wasn't a coward. And he says to himself, I don't need the bells. Why is he preoccupied with the bells? What's he supposed to be, he thinks? In waiting. Abhorsen in waiting. Right? He doesn't need the bells, and he runs off. What's happening to him as he's running off? It's something we saw in the first book with Touchstone. When they leave the palace, when they leave the reservoir, Sabriel comes back out of the dead. She says goodbye to her father and everything. They leave the palace. They're running. They end up meeting Rael and Senar, with the paper wing. he goes berserk, right? He enters that berserker mentality. It's the same thing that's happening to Sam here, okay? He just keeps running. He's past the trees, a dead hand rush, and he slashes it, etc. He keeps running. He's got to get to the necromancer. Why? Because he's thinking the necromancer is the one that burned his hand. He's thinking the necromancer is the one that has a claim of some sort on him. He keeps running, page 649, and he realizes it's not Hedge. He sees a bronze face. It's Clore of the mask, the creature his mother had fought years ago. Okay? She zaps him, tries to zap him, misses him, etc. Okay? He rushes forward. He strikes the necromancer. He thinks it's going to cut her arm off. Barely faces her. She says, "Fool, you have no bells." In that instant, Sam realized Clore didn't have any bells either. That is, she's not a necromancer. She's what? She's one of the greater dead. And we find out a little bit later on, what does it mean to be one of the greater dead?
Past the fifth gate.
Yeah, you've gone past the fifth gate. Usually, one of the greater dead is somebody who's come back from the seventh or eighth gate. That is, they're almost, because once you go past the ninth gate, you can't come back. You don't immediately become fully, quote unquote, dead once you go past the ninth gate. I won't tell you what has to happen. Read Abhorsen, because something has to happen once you go past that. You have to do something still. I'll tell you what. You have to look up. It's looking up and what you see that causes you to then fully go on to rest of some sort. Okay? So you come from these two, you're so close. This is why they're the greater dead, because when they come back even more fearsome and more powerful than they were. Okay? So, he meets Clore. And we're told Clore was no longer a necromancer. She was one of the greater dead. Sabriel had finished her as a living being, but somebody brought her back. That is, she was pretty strong when she was alive, which means something even stronger brought her back. Okay? It's Hedge. So, Sam fights with Clore. Lirael comes, helps her. Clore, disappears. Mogget and the cat Mogget and the dog, 655, top of 656. Clore, before she disappears, Clore swings down with the sword, and we're told top of 656. The blade came down, Sam screamed, the dog barks. Blade comes down, and what do we think is going to happen to Sam? Because he's immovable at this point. She's going to right through him. There was charter magic in the bark. It hit Clore as she struck. Her arms flashed gold and sizzled, white smoke gouting out of 1,000 tiny holes. The blow that should have impaled Sam would arrive. The sword sinks deep into the earth, so close that his hip was burnt by the flame. The dog advances, growling on Clore. The hound had grown, was now the size of a desert lion. How big is the dog normally in its quote-unquote natural state? We're told it's like a terrier. So, maybe a foot and a half off the ground, 40, 50 pounds. Now it's the size of a lion. I don't know if you've seen lions in, standing and such. Lions stand a good 3 feet tall, 6 feet long or so. This dog can really change, okay? So, the dog barks again as Clore takes another step towards him. Page 657. There is free magic power in this bark, reinforced with charter spells. Her collar shone even brighter, that is the dog's, and Sam and Lirael had to half close their eyes. Why? It's so bright, it's blinding. Clore flinches, and she does this. Okay? She's shielding herself, not only because the light is blinding, she's trying to use her hands as a protection. And she begins collapsing. Okay? Chlor disappears. The dog says, let it go. I've only forced it out of its shape. It's too powerful for me to send back into death alone or destroy. Sam says it's Chlor, etc., etc. Mogget, it is one of the greater dead now, back from beyond the 7th or 8th gate. Okay. Sam jumps into the air. He looks at Mogget. Where were you? I've been looking around while you took care of things here. He says Chlor was fled, but she'll return. There's more dead hands nearby, 100 of them. Okay. Shadow hands to lead them. So they've got to make their way still to the Abhorson's house. So they decide one person escaped, right? That one Southerling ran and jumped into the river. A dead hen went in after him and, disappeared in the water because the water destroys him. They find the guy floating. He's still alive, but he dies. Okay? And Lirael's like, we couldn't even help one person. Bottom of 665. They're kind of resting in the boat, and we're told Mogget seemed to be asleep at his customary post near the mast. But he opened one bright green eye as the dog looked back. And Mogget says to the dog, I saw it too. On the greater dead, that Chlor. What's the it? Yes, said the dog, her voice troubled. I trust you will have no trouble remembering where your loyalties lie. Mogget didn't answer. He slowly closed his eye, and a small and secret smile spread across his mouth. Now, notice one of the things, I think at least, that Nix is kind of playing with his portrayal of Mogget and the dog. Mogget's not really a cat, right? Right, Mogget's not really a cat. The dog's not really a dog. But what does he do with both cat and dog? Cats and dogs are mortal enemies, okay? What else? What are, popular consciousness, Facebook meme, that kind of stuff. What are differences between cats and dogs? All dogs are what, supposedly? Good, loyal, always loyal to their owners, okay? Unless they've been mistreated, that kind of nonsense. What about cats?
They have to like you.
Cats, what do you mean they have to like you?
Temperamental.
They're temperamental. They are, the word that is usually described, aloof. Cats don't care. Cats do their own thing. Dogs want what? Dogs want love. Dogs just want to be petted. They just want, cats? Do cats always like being petted?
No.
I've got a cat. It's like that stupid cat in the Captain Marvel movie. Send out the thing that eats people. You go to pet that cat, and it'll look at you, wonderful, loving, and then it'll turn around and bite you as you are petting it, okay? Nix is kind of playing on those personalities or characteristics of cats. Notice what Mogget does here. He kind of looks at the dog and gets this sly smile. Why? What did the dog say? I trust you will have no trouble remembering where your loyalties lie. Well, that's an interesting question. Because where are Mogget's loyalties? Or what's meant when you say someone is loyal? Trust? What else?
They got your back.
I've got your back. Eric Holder famously said about Obama when he was Attorney General, I'm his wingman. That is, I'm not going to let anything happen to him. I'm going to watch out for him. Okay? That's loyalty. Okay? What kind of loyalty does Mogget have? Notice, that's free loyalty. That's I choose to do this. What I was talking about with Holder.
Like he disappears when stuff happens.
Okay.
Servitude.
He's a slave. That's not loyalty. Enforced loyalty is not loyalty, because what happens when you take the threat of force away? In other words, what happens when you take Mogget's collar off? Well, Sam already told us. He's tried to kill Sabriel 3 times already. Okay? So, I trust you will have no trouble remembering where your loyalties lie. They get to the house, and they're getting ready to go inside, page 672. They thank the ship, Finder, and Finder goes off. And we're told, perhaps Lirael, at the end of that first paragraph, top of 672, perhaps Lirael would teach him how to make an ice otter charter skin. You know, because Sam wanted to learn, he watched her make a charter skin and such. And we're told a touch at his arm broke his reverie. That is, Sam is kind of off, in space, daydreaming, thinking about this. And he turns and he picks up his saddlebags and sword. Wait a second. We didn't talk about it, but back with Chlor, what happened to his sword? It shattered. He doesn't have a sword anymore. If he has anything, it's a handle. The hilt is what it's called. It's a little problem. It's just a little thing that he forgot. Nicks in the writing, okay? So, they're on the porch. They're getting ready to go in the house, and they see gore crows up above. Now, what are gore crows? Dead birds infused with a spirit, okay? And the spirit is spread out. So assume for a moment you guys are all just crows. You're not people. It'd be me taking somebody's spirit that's been dead, not all the way dead, but I trapped them in death, and I apportioned it among all of you. What that means is none of you is complete. So as these things fly, there's little bits of them dropping off. They're not very good servants. So they see these gore crows, okay? And they also see, above the gore crows, a message hawk. Now, a message hawk in this world is a hawk that can speak. It's been given a message. It has to deliver the message. And so the hawk bursts through the gore crows, comes down, and tells them the message, okay? The message is from his sister, tells him he's an idiot, okay? Tells him father and mother are still in Angelsteer. What do they, Elamir and Samath, not know has happened to their parents?
They were attacked.
Attempted assassination. And notice we finished this book, and we don't know what the end result is. We don't know that they make it safely back to the old kingdom, okay? So, they get there, they start, thinking about what they need to do. Page 676, the message says, Father says it's essential you find Nicholas Sayre, return him to Angelsteer, etc., 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 okay? Lirael says, while we eat dinner, we'll plan what we're going to do next. And what does Sam say? Next? I thought we were going to relax for a bit. Okay? She's like, we can't. We have to go on. Okay? So, they get cleaned. They get showers and baths and such. And 681. Lirael comes downstairs. Notice what Sam, by the way, passage we didn't talk about. What Sam has noticed about Lirael. Even before she gets the bath. She's gorgeous. And Sam's, what? He thinks about the same age. And so he says something, and she's like, really? Sex? Come on. I'm 35. And he's like, ew, I don't know. Okay. Well, she comes back down, and bottom of 681, there's a sending that's following her wherever she goes. And it's carrying a coat folded over its arm. And it's like wherever she goes, she stops and it kind of bumps up into her. Like, take the coat. It's yours. Take the coat. Okay? She tries to explain, no, I'm going to wear what I have on. She has on her second assistant librarian's spare outfit. And she makes her way into the great hall of the Abhorson's house, and it's like, whoa, I've been here before. And she remembers the dark mirror. Mom sat there. He sat there. This is the Abhorson's house. And she applies a little logic. Okay? Lirael turns and looks at Sam, 682, because Sam says, there you are. She looks at, he now has on a surcoat. That is an overcoat, okay? Kind of a thing. And she looks at him because he's supposed to be what? Abhorson in waiting. What's an Abhorson in waiting supposed to wear? Silver keys and bells on it, right? Okay. Instead, it has the golden towers of the royal line, but they're quartered with a strange device. And Sam's like, it's the wall maker's trowel. They've all been gone for centuries. That is, the wall makers have been gone for centuries. 1,000 years at least. And he goes, hey, I like your hair. And he looks at her, and she's just kind of staring there with a dumb look on her face. What? He asked her. She can't speak. She beckons to the sending that carried her surcoat, and she takes it. She takes it and unfolds it like this so that she can see it. Okay? Sam can't see what's on the coat. And then she folds it up again. Why? Because when she unfolds it and looks at it, she knows exactly what it means. She counts to 10, and she unfolds it again. Sam, what? Are you all right? I don't know how to say this. She takes her waistcoat off, it's pronounced waistcoat, and hands it to the sending. She takes the surcoat, smooths it out, and Sam notices. On the coat were the golden stars of the Clare, quartered with the silver keys of the Abhorson. I must be half Abhorson. I think I'm your mother's half-sister. Your grandfather was my father. I'm your aunt. Half-aunt, sorry. And Sam's got to think, ooh, because what he thought about. He opens them. He says, wait, my aunt? My mother's half? Does she know? I don't think so. Surely not, or she would have found me long ago. I only worked it out myself by using the dark mirror. She says, I wanted to see who my father was, and I saw this room. Okay? So she explains what happened. And Sam says, how did the sendings know to give you that surcoat? Maggid, I told them. How did you know? I have served the Abhorsons for many centuries. How many? Remember, he told Sabriel he has served, she is 18. I think he said, I served 100 times your years. 1,800 years. Actually, how far back does Maggid go? He served the first Abhorson. The very first. He's been their slave from the beginning. Okay? So, he says, I have served the Abhorsons for many centuries, page 685, so I tend to know what's what. Once I realized that Sam was not the Abhorson in waiting, has he told Sam that? No. So how does that have to come to Sam? Thank the charter. I don't have to go into death. I don't have to read that blasted book. I kept my eyes open. for the real one to turn up, because the bells wouldn't have appeared unless her arrival was imminent. And I was here when Lirael's mother came to see Tercio, the former Abhorsen. So it was rather elementary. Lirael was clearly both the former Abhorsen's daughter and the Abhorsen in waiting the bells were meant for. Sam, so I'm not? Of course not. Lirael, I can't be. I'm a Clare. I'm a remembrancer. He said, you can complain all you like. The blood will out. You are the Abhorsen in waiting. You must take up the bells. And that's when Sam says, thank the charter. I was never going to be any good with them. You'll be a much better Abhorsen in waiting, Lirael. Look at the way you went into death with only those little pipes. And notice her desire for the bells. She says, can I look at them? Can I touch them? Oh, in your book, can I read it? He says, all I managed to do was get burnt. She says, but I'm a daughter of the Clare. In other words, she's supposed to what she thinks?
The sight.
See. I'm supposed to have the sight. Okay? And then she whispers, does the walker choose the path or the path the walker? Notice, that means nothing to Sam. Why? He never read the book. That's the last page. So she says, I'll never have the sight, will I? The dog now says, no, you won't. But it is your Clare heritage that gives you the gift of remembrance. For only a child of Abhorsen and Clare can look into the past. Okay? You must grow into your powers, etc., etc. Okay? So, Sam says, I'm amazingly relieved. I don't have to be Abhorsen in waiting, etc., etc. I went into death. I got out again. I don't want to ever go there again. He says, I'm not supposed to follow in Mother's footsteps. Elamir's going to be the queen, etc., etc. What is it that Sam is good at that we've already seen? Making stuff. What's on his surcoat? The trowel. Why? Because it is an implement of making. The wall makers, for example. Okay? So, 689. We're told Lirael is thinking. She had known that her life would change, that she would never have the sight, never be truly one of the Clare. That is, she knew that when? She knew that long before she found out she was Abhorsen in waiting. She knew before she left the Clare, I'm not ever going to see. So, Mogget says to her, you belong here. I am the oldest servant of the Abhorsens, and I feel it in my very marrow. The Sindings likewise. Look at the way they cluster there just to see you. Look at the charter lights that burn brighter about you than anywhere else, brighter above you than anywhere else. This whole house and its servants welcome you, Lirael. So will the Abhorsen and the king and even your niece. Okay? And notice, we're told there's at least 100 Sindings. And where are they? They're peeking out from doors. Why? That's the next one. That's the next one that we will serve. The dog. Mogget is correct. Your blood is what made you what you are, but you should remember it's not just the high office of Abhorsen in waiting you have gained. It is a family you have found, and all will welcome you. Because what's one of the things she didn't have at the Clare, at the glacier? She didn't belong. Now she does. Okay? So, they keep talking and planning. Sam's still kind of thinking, I got to stay here, page 692. He says, I can't do anything. I was thinking of staying here. And Lirael just stares at him. The dog growls. Mogget keeps eating. And she tells him, 693, Lirael, you can't. It's not just rescuing your friend Nicholas. Think about what Hedge is trying to do. He's planning to kill 200,000 people, unleash every spirit and death upon the kingdom. Whatever he's digging up is part of that. The kingdom needs your help. You may not be the Abhorsen in waiting, but you are still a prince of the kingdom. He says, I'm afraid of death. I'm afraid of Hedge. So am I. Okay? So the dog says, it's always better to be doing, Prince? Besides, you don't smell like a coward, so you can't be one. Lirael, you didn't hide from the crossbowmen at High Bridge. What is she talking about? When they sailed under that high bridge, what did Sam tell them? There's going to be a crossbowman up there, but he wasn't going to do what? He wasn't going to hide. He was going to take the tiller, and he said, I will weave a protective shield. And she's like, yeah, but what if it doesn't work? It has to. It has to means what? I have faith. I have loyalty that it will work, so to speak. Okay? That's courage. She says, whatever we face won't be as bad as you think. Mogget, it'll be worse. So she's trying to, no, it's not going to be that bad. We face the worst. He goes, no. Okay? And we get the epilogue. And notice what the epilogue is. It's a letter from Nick. Okay? Pretty long letter. Tells him all the stuff that's going on. He puts the pen down, page 701, and he calls Hedge. Hedge comes in, and he tells Hedge, I have this letter that I need to send off to my friend Nick. You'll see that it's that. He says, yes. He says, the night crew aren't looking, so good, but maybe they can increase their work. We can make them do that. Don't worry about it. Notice he doesn't have a clue what the night crew is. He doesn't know these are dead people. Okay? And you get to the end of that, page 703, and Nick faints. And there was something else behind his eyes. Some other intelligence that had lain dormant. It suddenly sang now, accompanied by fumes of acrid white smoke that coiled out of his nose and throat. Okay? Pause here for a minute. What is this other intelligence? Or, put it this way, where did it come from? When did it enter him?
A sliver.
The little sliver of silver that was put in his wrist back when Hedge caught him at the beginning of the book. And it traveled and got to his heart. And here is what the little sliver of silver sings. I'll sing you a song of the long ago. 7 shine the shiners. Oh, remember the other day we said there were 9 shiners. Okay. 5 did what?
Part of the charter or the
Abhorsons, Claire, Royalty, Wall, Charterstones. That is, 5 sacrificed themselves to go into these things. Okay? That leaves 4. 7, the shiners. Oh, so you have 9. Start with 9 total. 7. From the 7 come the 5. Okay. What did the 7 do way back when? Why, they wove the charter then. So the 7 are the makers of the charter. Okay. 5 for the warp. That is this, from beginning to end. 2 for the woof, to make and mend. What is that talking about? Warp and woof. It's weaving terminology. On a loom, you've got threads that go this way, threads that go this way. And the warp and woof is the stuff that goes, that's not a good way of doing it. It's that. So that you have some that go like this, and then you have others that go this way. Weaving in and out, down and under. So that, for example, when Taryn looks at the loom in the weavers, in Dwivik the weavers, he sees an image, right? But on the other side of it, what's it look like?
What is your sister's
Just-
name?
Doesn't matter what my sister's name is. It's just this thing is possessed. I'm not kidding. It's just tangled threads. Okay? So, we're told 5 become the warp. Okay? And then 2 become the others that pull all of that together. Okay? 2 for the woof, to make and mend. That's the 7. But what are the 9? What of the 2 who chose not to shine? The 8th did hide all away. That is, number 8 tried to do what? Hide, escape. 8 didn't want to become part of this. Okay? 8 didn't want to become involved with 9 either. 8 tried to say what? I'm Switzerland. It's exactly what I was thinking. I'm Switzerland. I'm neutral. I'm not good. I'm not bad. Okay? But what happened? The 7 caught him and made him pay. The 9th was strong and fought with might. But lone Uranus was put out of the light. What's that telling us? The 7, they're the light. Lone Uranus, number 9, was put out of the light. Then where/what is Uranus? The dark. And you have that old dualism of the light and the dark. The good, the bad. What's number 8? Maggid. 8 is Maggid. Maggid chose not to do this, but also not to do this. And so what did the 7 do? They bound Maggid to do what? To be a servant of them. Go back to what the dog said. I trust you'll remember where your loyalties lie. Where are his loyalties? In one sense, you could say Maggid's loyalty is to whom?
Himself.
Me. Which, in terms of the final battle, would be good, right? At least he's not going to join Uranus. Notice what it took. Very weird that I'm teaching this right now, because what comes out in 2 days, if you're a big Marvel fan? Avengers Endgame, the final, the consummation of 22 films, etc. You could say, this is Thanos, What does the very name Thanos mean? Death. Death comes from Thanatos, which is Greek for death. Okay? So, you got this idea here. Well, listen to what, Uranus says. Going on. Lone Uranus was put out of light, broken in two, buried under hill, forever to lie there, wishing us ill. Who's the wishing us? That doesn't sound like Uranus speaking. It's not Hedge speaking. Silence for a moment. But it is not my song, Hedge. Who's speaking? The world spins on without my song. Life that knows not my lash crawls unbidden wherever it will go. What's a lash? A whip. Life that knows not my whip. Creation runs amok without the balance of destruction. So if you have creation and destruction, how does that balance out? Nothing. So what really wins? Nothing. Destruction wins. And my dreams of fire are only dreams. But soon the world will fall asleep, and it will be my dream that all will dream, my song that will fill every ear. What is the song that this thing's talking about? Darkness, fire, the lash. Whatever spoke did not wait for Hedge to answer. It went on immediately in a different, harsher tone, no longer singing. Destroy the letter. Send more dead to Clore, and make sure that they slay the prince, for he must not come here. Ooh. Notice whatever this thing is, notice what it's afraid of. It's not afraid of Sabriel. It's not afraid of Touchstone. It's not afraid of Lirael. It's not afraid of the dog. It's not afraid of Mogget. There's something about Sam. Walk in death yourself, keep watch for the spying daughter of the Clare. Kill her, if she's seen again. Dig faster, for I must be whole again. Well, what's the I? Lone Uranus was put out of the light, broken in two. It's Uranus. Because what will happen if something whose strength is divided gets united? Hell breaks loose, right? The last words were shouted with a force that threw Hedge against the rotting canvas of the tent. He looks back and says, I hear you, Lord, and as always, I obey. Okay, we'll stop there a couple minutes early. Hopefully, the first two books have whetted your appetite enough that you'll want to read Abhorsen. If not, that's fine. If you have any questions about the exam, I'll stick around. If not, you are free to go. Wake up.